Welcome back to the show. You know, this is October, and that means it's Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. And I'm so happy to have Dr. Kerry Ann Zamore Bird here
Yes.
with us to talk about a book you wrote some years ago
Yes,
and how it
yes.
was sort of therapeutic for you.
hmm
And I want you to tell your story of domestic abuse. But first, a kind of life update. You've just recently come on the faculty at Baylor. You are let's see, a clinical assistant professor
Yes, yes, I am
in the School of Social
in the
Work.
School of Social Work. Yes, very happy to join this team.
Yeah, you'd been at UMHB.
Yes, I was at UMHB for 6 years prior, and I was at Texas A&M as an adjunct before that. And so it's kind of nice to move to Waco.
Oh, well, we are happy to have you. Happy to have you. In fact, I think last time when we were together at
Mhm.
the event at
Yes,
the wonderful Aging Gracefully series
yes.
that we did, you were about to take a group from UMHB, I think,
Yes, we were
on a
on our way
tour.
to Ecuador.
That's what it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I took a group of students to Ecuador in a study abroad opportunity. We had a wonderful time there.
hmm
And then over the summer, I switched to Baylor
Yeah,
University.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you looking maybe to continue doing these kind of trips with students?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Right now, I'm going to be focused a lot on some research that I'm
Hmm.
working on. Yes.
Okay. Well, so that's kind of your area, though,
Yes.
and what you deal with your classes and so forth has to do with domestic
hmm
abuse, domestic violence. So let's just kind of go back in history
Yes.
and tell me your story.
Right. So I wrote the book, Restored, in 2014, and Restored came about. It really was my testimony of my domestic violence survival as well. I married my college sweetheart. Right out of college. I mean, we were young. We were so young. I've always said that I was very inexperienced to life. Married somebody that we were came from similar backgrounds, educated, all of those things as well. And after our marriage, the domestic violence began.
There was
Um,
no hint when you were dating or
you know
anything?
what? So looking back, there were red flags, but I didn't know what those were,
Mm.
right? Because before I had never been exposed to it. I'd never seen
I was
anything
gonna say
like that
your
before.
parents did not model that kind of
My
behavior
parents
at
did
all.
not model that kind of
Mm-mm.
behavior. His parents did not model that kind of behavior.
Oh,
So, it's not something that I grew up seeing. We came from very, very similar backgrounds, very
mhm.
strong Christian roots. And so it wasn't something that at least that I saw growing up. So I thought that, okay, this was normal interactions in an early marriage, because I remember I would have conversations with friends and they said, well, the first year is always the roughest.
Oh yeah.
And, then it was the first 5 years. And
Yeah,
I'm
then
like,
you hear, oh, the 7 year
then the
itch. Yeah.
7 year itch and all of
Yeah.
these things. But looking back, I thought when we were dating, I could see that's when the isolation began because there were a lot of my friends he didn't like. And he would say things like, I don't think your friends like me, or I don't like your friends. And I would find myself distancing myself from those people he didn't like
Right, because you
um,
want him to be
because
happy,
I
and
want him to be
if
happy.
he's not comfortable with them,
Exactly.
whether or not that was true.
Whether or not that
Right,
was
right.
true. And
Yeah.
so those were some of the isolations. And it was then it was emotional, and then verbal. So we went through. So the emotional would look like we would have arguments, and then he would just begin to cry. Which is weird now, right? Like, well, we're talking
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah.
but emotional. He would just start crying, and I would say, what did I do? And he was just like, and he would say things like, I'm just trying to love you, and you are so hard to love. And I would wonder, like, okay, what's hard about it? But that wasn't a ding, 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 run for your life.
hmm
It was, what can I do better? Because again, you're thinking college, this is
Or
my
it's
first
your
real
fault
relationship,
rather
and
than
it's my fault,
yeah,
right? And what
yeah.
can I do differently?
hmm
So yeah, we got married, and immediately moved to Germany.
Ooh, foreign country.
Foreign country. So he was an officer
Uh-huh.
in the military,
Right.
and so we got married, and we were supposed to have orders to Idaho, which is still far from Maryland. We went to Idaho, and as soon as we got to Idaho, we had secondary orders to Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and so the isolation was definitive. Then, I'm in a foreign country. We did not live on the military installation. We lived in a small German town,
Hmm.
and
That sounds
so
idyllic to me. I
I
mean,
know,
how
right?
fun. Yeah.
But it just, I would say that's when the hidden really began.
Wow.
It really began. And then by that time, I'd had a small
I was
child.
going to say children involved
Right.
too.
You know,
Yeah.
children are involved. And, the question that we hear a lot of times is, why didn't you just leave? Right. At this time now, I have children involved. I really love this person. Right. I'm trying to figure out, how do I make this work?
Work.
And also, and at the time, no one in my family had been divorced, ever. My grandparents were married 65 years when my grandfather died. My parents have been married forever. My mom is 5 out of 10 children. Everybody is still married. My dad is the oldest out of 8. Everyone is still married. On his side, there are no divorces. So that's not something that I saw. I remember going to seek pastoral counseling, and the question I was asked is there any infidelity? And no, there wasn't any infidelity. And I was told, well, you have to make it work.
Mm.
And so I didn't know what to do.
Right.
I'm in Germany, right? There were several times that I would say that the assault, the physical beatings got really bad, that I left. I remember getting a call from the German Polizei that I had to come back to the base because I took the children out of the country. I had a friend who lived in NATO, and I took the children out of the country without his permission. So I had to come back. I remember speaking to different individuals, just asking, how can I leave? What can I do? And oftentimes, and again, this was a long time ago, the advice was, try to make it work. Is it that bad? And it was,
Yeah.
right? It
He could
was.
kill you.
He could kill me. And yeah, we ended up moving to Alaska, and I would say things got better around
As a family.
as a family. And so another reason that I did not know what to do is I wasn't beaten every day, right? Sometimes we would go months with everything looking
And
really
I can't
well.
help but think he's thinking, I gotta stop this.
I don't know.
You're not sure if
I-
did he ever say, "Oh, I'll never do it again"? or-
Yes. Now that
Okay.
happened. Now that happened
Okay.
a lot. And I think, there were some times where we had some friends who intervened and said, hey, this is not okay. But no one ever said, Kerry, leave. Right. And then this is when I would get I'm sorry this happened, but it would end with, but you made me do this. Right. I only got upset because you did
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
And so there was never really that accountability or that responsibility that he took. And so there were 2 times in Germany that I left, and I left one time in the middle of snow. I think,
Oh my goodness.
it was snowing up to the car, and I will never forget this one. It was a really, really bad night, and it was horrible. And it was a night that, he strangled me. And, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I picked up the boys and I went to my girlfriend's house. I drove in the snow barefoot with just my pajamas, took the kids out of bed in their pajamas as well. And we went to my friend's house, and she knew something was going on. She opened the door. She just looked at me. She looked at the boys. She said, come on in. She made some hot chocolate. She turned her fireplace on, tucked the boys in. And she just cuddled me on the couch, threw a blanket around me, and just held me. And she said, when you're ready to talk, I'm here. The next morning, I got up and I went back home. I didn't know how to leave.
Right.
Right. And then I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. Our careers were both doing very well. One of the things I was told is, if you tell, you're going to destroy his career. Right. He's in the military. My career was doing well. I was told, who's going to believe you? Right? Because you guys have spent 10 years building this image of this wonderful family. And now I would have to dismantle the image and let everyone behind closed doors of what was actually happening. And there's so many incidents I can think about. I remember one particular night, I was going out with my girlfriends, and he didn't like an outfit that I was wearing, and he took scissors and cut it off. Um, and I remember I went to dinner, I changed my clothes, I went to dinner, and I told them what happened. And nobody said, "That's crazy."
Yeah, that's nuts.
Nobody said that to me. It was like, oh, and the conversation just continued. And so, how do you leave when you have so many that you're telling people this is what's going on? But I think my friends were unsure of what to do.
I was going to say that is just
Yeah.
so bizarre. What,
Yeah.
let's just keep going talking about something else,
Yeah. Right. I'm thinking about it now, like that was so bizarre.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I can't blame them, because when you don't know what to say and you don't know what to do and you don't know how to help your friend, it's sometimes when we do it, we brush it under the rug and we keep on going. But what I can say is that when I did get the courage to finally leave, it was here in Texas. And I would say I really didn't have the courage then. Law enforcement had the courage. Because even then at that night, I didn't want to press charges. I just wanted them to go away. And it was my son who actually made the call. The kids were older now. They were 9 and 11, and my 9-year-old made the call.
Wow.
And my friend, the prosecutor, gave me the 911 call, so I listened to it just to remember what that moment was like. And even then, I just wanted everybody to go away so we can continue our lives. But my friend, prosecutor, she sat me down, and we really, for the first time, and she sat me down and we had a conversation about it. And that's when I was determined. I said, okay, I'm going to leave, but I need you to support me. And I would say to this day, she's still by my side. She has supported me. I testified for 2 hours at his hearing about the domestic violence from college all the way to the incident that happened in Texas. And it was in saying everything out loud, I was able to reclaim my voice. And then I really just put it down in the book.
That's how you were restored.
That's how I was restored.
Yeah, and I'm sure taking a hard look at what it was doing to your kids
Yeah.
to have that behavior modeled.
Yeah. That was one of the things I prayed all the time, because throughout everything I had my faith. And throughout the book, you'll also see different prayers that I would ask God. I would say, God, why is this happening to me? How can I get out of this? And one of the prayers, I had 2 prayers that I prayed. God, if you get me out of this, I promise for the rest of my life, I will praise you, and I will use this for your honor and your glory. And the other prayer was, Lord, if I have to die this way, don't let my boys see it, and take care of my parents. Those were my prayers. And when I got out of it, the prayer that I would pray over my children was protect their hearts and their minds from everything they have seen, and allow them to be restored, cleanse it from them, hide things from their memory, and allow them to truly become the men that you have ordained them to be. And hide them behind your cross. Those are the prayers that I would pray for them over and over. And I can say, they're adults now, and they're very successful adults. And they're able to talk about it without being in pain, where they see the dysfunction, the toxicity, and they can speak against it, right? So they have seen it, and they're advocates for those people who are victims.
Oh, golly.
Yeah.
Kerry Ann, so much more I want to talk about. We're going to take a quick break. I kind of hate to stop, but
That's
when we
okay.
come back, I do want to hear the rest of the story.
Yes.
So stay with us. There is more of the show ahead. We will tell you that this show is brought to you by Gather & Co., where they are transforming houses into homes. Stay with us.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
If your home's feeling a bit dated or you're dreaming of that beautiful outdoor oasis, I have got the team for you. Gather & Co., the family-owned remodeling pros right here in Greater Waco since 1998. Led by the Falconberry family, they specialize in stunning kitchen and bathroom makeovers. Think custom walk-in showers, sleek cabinetry, and aging-in-place upgrades for easy living. They also nail outdoor spaces with pergolas, patio covers, sunrooms, and screen rooms that turn your backyard into a year-round retreat. What sets them apart? Personalized designs, top-notch craftsmanship, and a hassle-free process for free in-home consultations to spot-on completion, plus financing options to make it simple. Customers love them, raving about the friendly crew and attention to every detail. Ready to gather in your dream home? Call Gather & Co. today, 254-759-1147 for a no-obligation quote. Visit GatherCoRemodeling.com. Your remodel starts here.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
And I'm back with Dr. Kerry Ann Zamore, Bird, who is a clinical assistant professor at Baylor's School of Social Work, Diana Garland School of Social Work. And just kind of recently, this semester, really, I guess, this fall. And it's wonderful to have you here sharing your expertise, sharing your story, though, because so many women and men can be victims of domestic violence for sure. And it's so important for our social work students in that whole academic endeavor to understand the dynamics.
It is. And I mean, and it's unfortunate that we spend October talking about domestic violence, because domestic violence is something that happens year round.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so we talk about now, I think the numbers are 1 in 3 persons are affected by domestic violence or some type of violence in the United States. And one of the things that I say over and over again when I speak on this topic is that domestic violence knows no socioeconomic bounds. It really doesn't care how rich you are or how poor you are. It doesn't care about your ethnicity or your racial identity, gender, any of those things. Domestic violence can happen to anyone, right? And so I always say that the most unfair question that is asked of victims is, why didn't you just leave? Right? That is the most unfair question. And it's a question that is asked a lot. Why didn't he or she just leave the toxic situation? And the thing is that there are a lot of barriers to domestic violence, why people remain in toxicity. And a lot of victims are afraid. They're truly afraid. They may be dependent financially on that person. Sometimes they're unsure of where to get the help. Right? They're unsure of what the resources are. Some people really don't want to break up their families like I did. Or even you might love that person and you're hoping that it works out. And particularly if you talk about those individuals who are of spiritual or Christian faith, you find that you try even more so to make it work. Right? And so those are some of the things that I see when I talk to individuals who have survived or who even still in situations of toxicity as domestic violence.
Well, and you mentioned the red flags. I mean, I think that's kind of a key thing as people are dating or maybe considering someone as a life partner.
Yeah. Red flags. Wow, there's so many different red flags to look for.
I mean, in your case, isolationism. I mean, you wanted to keep It was
Yeah.
almost like he wanted to control you. It's a
Right,
controlling thing.
right. And that's what domestic violence is. It's power and control that one person exerts over the other.
Mhm.
And that power of control can be financial control. When I think of individuals who are immigrants, if that person takes your passport or your visa, red flags, right? Red flags, isolation is always a red flag. And it's one that I missed, but it's one that I can now see patterns in relationships, isolating you from things that you love, people who care about you. Verbal abuse, that's something that we really do need to take seriously. If someone takes your cell phone or the means for you to communicate, or one of the things that I see a lot when I've worked with victims is taking the cell phone or breaking the cell phone and not allowing you or allowing the victim to call for help or even have any type of communication with people outside of the relationship. Abusing pets.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. That's a big one
Yeah,
as
if they'll
well.
they'll hurt a pet, they'll hurt a human.
They're going to hurt a human,
Yeah.
even hurting your children. I remember when I worked with victims, I've had people say, he's never hit me, but he scares me. And the question I will ask is, what does that look like?
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. At TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, Your Bank for Life.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
And sometimes it looks like, he or she might throw a glass and it crashes against the wall, but it didn't hit me, it broke the wall. That's intimidation, right? Or standing over the person. One of the things that my ex-husband, my abuser, would do is that he would sit late at night in the living room cleaning his guns.
Oh gosh.
And he would click it over and over again. That was intimidation.
Sure.
Right? And so those are some of the things that we think about when we talk to individuals who have experienced domestic violence. The question that I ask is, when you say you are afraid, tell me what it looks like. Right? So that they're now creating a picture, because sometimes you don't always have the words to explain what that fear is. But if you say, what does it look like? What is happening at that time? Then that gives you a clearer picture of how domestic violence may be escalating for that person.
Okay, so what happened? You said you testified. So
I did.
Did he end up going to jail? I mean,
No, he didn't. I remember the judge asked me, he said, well, what do you want us to do?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that's unfair. You're asking me.
So then it's whatever happens is gonna be your fault.
It's going to be my fault, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I can. It's been so many years, and I've talked about this so many times, and so I can now be kind of lighthearted about it.
Yeah. And
Although
how many years ago?
Oh gosh, 15.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 years ago.
Mhm.
And you know what? It happened about this time of year.
Yeah.
And so this time of year used to be a trigger for me.
I was going to say, I bet,
Yeah.
fall comes around and
The
you're,
fall used to be a real
Yeah, I
trigger
bet it
for me.
was,
Fall
yeah.
and Mother's Day.
uh-huh.
Fall and Mother's Day was were real triggers for me, but it isn't anymore. It's a time of empowerment, awareness, and education for
Sure.
me. And so, after I testified, he was no longer able to remain in the military, and so he transitioned out of that. And then I was able to have custody of my children and move on with my life with a protection order safely away from him.
So you've never had any more interaction?
No more interaction with him.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Well, so tell me about your husband.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
tell me
husband.
about the rest of the story.
Yes, my husband. I am remarried. I would say happily remarried. And we're just living life. I think the way that God really ordained marriage to be.
Yeah.
And he truly is a man of God, which is what I prayed for. And he reminds me a lot of my dad, who is a true man of God. And so I think so. That's where restored comes from. I say that the days and times that the locust ate away, that God really has restored and rejuvenated and revived, and everything that I asked him for in my prayers, he truly has been that good father, because that's who he's been. And I don't regret anything that I have gone through. I have that I had the strength and the resilience to come through what I went through, but it wasn't for me. I am now able to use it to educate, to bring awareness, and to truly be a voice for people who are still in this situation. And so I don't regret it. I use it truly for God's glory, just like I promised him that if he got me through this, then I would use it for his honor and his glory.
So beautiful, so beautifully said. So if someone is, saying, well, where can I go to get some help?
Yeah.
What's your first
Yeah.
answer?
So if you're here in the Central Texas area, there's several areas that you can call. There's Families in Crisis in the Fort Hood area. There's also the Waco Abuse Shelter Center here in Waco that you're able to call. And then if you're just unsure, wherever you're watching the call from, you can call the National Domestic Violence line, and you will be able to get some support there as well. I also say your local police department has victim advocates.
They sure do.
They have victim advocates, and a lot of police departments now have social workers. And so you're able to reach out to them, to the victim advocate or the social worker within a police department, and have those conversations with them. You don't have to stay in toxicity. And I always say it is cyclical. So he or she may be sorry today, but they won't be sorry again next week. It's a roller coaster. Somebody has to get off.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Beautifully said. Again, thank you so much, Kerry Ann.
Thank you.
I just appreciate your transparency with what, had to have been a very painful chapter of your life, but the way God has used that to help so many other people and brought you to the other side, and just, just the joy that radiates from you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Well, stay with us. There is more of the show ahead, and I will tell you a little later in the show, we'll be meeting Waco author Tonee B. Shelton. She is debuting children's book, and you're going to want to hear about it. Stay with us.
Warning to all Waco natives. Magnolia's Celebration Weekend is coming to us Friday, October 24th and Saturday, October 25th. Award-winning artists Forrest Frank and Need to Breathe are headlining with special guests Switchfoot and Emma Neeson. These are some big names in Waco, so expect some big crowds. Creative Waco will be hosting Dia de los Muertos on November 1st at Indian Springs Park. This huge celebration pays tribute to our departed loved ones, allowing everyone to reflect on shared memories and the journeys that our lives lead now. You can be a part of the parade, attend the festival, or just join Creative Waco for Dia de los Muertos this year at Indian Springs Park. Get ready for a night of culture, dance, and celebration with Waco's own traditional Indonesian dance competition on Saturday, November 8th. Don't miss this opportunity to witness some shining stars taking home some serious grand prizes. I'm Elizabeth Riley with your Act Locally Waco News, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome back to the show. I am so delighted to have Tonee B. Shelton here with me up on the 21st floor of the Alico building. Great to have you here and to see you again. We run into each other at all kinds of local events. And so I'm glad to talk to you because you're a writer, you're a poet, you're a social worker. I mean, you just wear lots of different hats.
Yes, I do. Sometimes I want to take all of them off, but
Well, sometimes you need to just to kind of download. We may need to talk about how
Yes,
how do
ma'am.
you download and
Right.
and recharge. But right off the bat, I want to talk about something that's happening tomorrow, and
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
the tell me. It's the launch of
The Scared Frog Takes the Lead, my latest
The
children's.
Scared Frog Takes a Leap. This is wonderful. So, where will it be happening? Where?
Yeah, so it's going to be happening at 200 Hillsborough Drive, Waco, Texas. So
Okay.
it's Rock My Style Barbershop.
Oh, good, good.
Yes,
Okay. Well,
ma'am.
this is so. So, what was the impetus? What made you want to write this book?
So, fun fact, I actually wrote that in 2023.
Okay.
Like most of my writing, it started out as a poem, and I sat on it, and life happened, and then I wrote other things, and I finally realized when I slowed down, you know what? That poem needs to actually be a book. I want to talk about fear. I want to talk about what it feels like when you know it's time for you to take the leap towards your goals. You know it's time for you to do something different, but you hesitate based upon your own mind, based upon your friends, the peer pressure to be still, and to just hesitate, but you know you need to do something new.
Yes, and this is a message that children really need. So, what ages are you targeting with this
Yes,
book?
ma'am. So I would say that I am targeting probably 5 to about 14.
Okay.
And I know you're like, that's a broad
Yeah. But
age gap.
the message is
But the
is great.
message rings true if you're 97 or 9.
Really?
And I grew up listening to fables and teachers, reading us stories that I
Mhm.
think when I was younger, I didn't get the profound message. But honestly, that is for adults as well. So I know it's a children's book, but honestly, I think adults would, especially nowadays, they would benefit from a book that's talking about fear. So,
Mhm. Like many days before, the frog was daydreaming about a life on a new lily pad,
yes, ma'am.
just thinking about how do I change my circumstances.
Right. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. This is so exciting. You've written so many other things that I do want to talk to you about.
Yes,
Some of
ma'am.
the other things, but you explore these themes of life and hope and love and faith.
Yes, ma'am. I do. I write from I'd say like first person narrative. I'm a little selfish. I write to make sense of the world that I see around me.
Oh,
I write to express I'm a little emotional sometimes. And I think that it's productive to put that into my art. So my art helps me express and make sense of the world around me. But it also has been used as a tool, I think, to help others navigate and express themselves and strategize for their next moves, or even to hold them softly if they're currently in a hard place, because I'm not shy about being in a hard place. I navigate my mental and my emotional health, and I try not to hide that from people, because I think just as you see me smiling on social media and being positive,
I
and
love following your posts on Facebook. I love seeing the quotes and the things that you put on there.
yes, ma'am. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So I don't just want people to know that aspect of me as well. I want people to know that, hey, you're going to have some highs and you're going to have some lows. And I'm a Christian girl. I was raised to go to church. I still go to church. My relationship with God is important to me. Trying to live a life that emulates how Jesus lived his life is also important to me. And sometimes I'm just a raggedy human being with flesh, and so I fall short
Yeah.
often. And so my art chronicles all of that, the striving to sometimes be perfect and to emulate what it is that I think God expects of us as humans, which is to be kind to one another, but also to have some sense of spirituality and a moral and internal compass. And then the human part of me that
Mhm.
misses the mark and has an attitude and struggles and all
Oh
of
yeah.
those things. So,
All the
all
good
the things.
things that come with the flesh,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
ma'am.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your journey. When did you discover you had a knack for writing poetry, not writing prose? I mean, what have you always, been creative in that way, or did you start journaling, or how did all that
I
happen?
love that. So I'm an only child. As an only child, we raised around adults, and then
Yeah.
we entertained ourselves.
Yeah.
So my love for writing actually started with my love for reading. My parents are not voracious readers, but they learned that their child had an appetite for it. I was always reading at school. In one of my books, I talk about in second grade reading up under my desk once I was done with my work. Books were my escape. They were my friend. I didn't have very many friends early. I was bullied, but books were my safe
Oh.
space that exposed me to all types of places. I love the quotes that talk about, you can travel any space on this earth or beyond when you open up a book. So yeah, my love for writing started with reading. And probably when I was in college, I started doing open mics. I shared this story about navigating heartbreak, getting up on the mic and
Oh
saying,
my.
roses are red, violets are blue. This is why I hate you. Real cheesy stuff. I was putting that on Facebook and doing open mics, but I really took a liking to it. And I just started putting out short poems on my Instagram and my Facebook, and people said they liked it. And when COVID hit in 2020, it forced me to slow down. I was at home more. I got on a schedule. I started praying more. And I realized, Lord, you know what? I got all these loose poems and I'm talking all this mess, but I haven't been faithful. Lord, if you allow the world to open back up and you give me strength and health, I am going to figure out how to comprise a book. And in 2021, I put out In Search of Freedom. I self-published it, and I just haven't looked back. I've been self-publishing and creating books ever since.
Well, and you did an audiobook. I understand you here at Rogue Media.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. So recently I turned my In Search of Freedom lived as a physical book from 2021 onward, and I just released an audiobook through Rogue Media. Thank you, Rogue Media. In Search of Freedom, and I put it on my website just a few months ago. Yes, ma'am.
That's good. So anybody can.
So anybody can access it, because to look at things, people don't believe this because I yap a lot, but I read a lot. So my poetry starts as me writing first. It doesn't start as me speaking first. They talk about page to the stage. I'm a page to the stage kind of girly. So I write out a lot of my works, but I wanted to make my books more accessible, and people love poetry in the spoken word format. So my push to turn In Search of Freedom into an audiobook was just that people could access the poems straight from the author and hear them kind of how I wrote them. So
Who were some of the voices, mentors, or maybe experiences that helped shape you as a writer?
wow, that's big. Uh, so growing up, of course, I was always reading Maya Angelou poems. So I was
Oh
the young
yeah.
lady where they tapped to do that. But I honestly say, like, I've always been a bit artistic. I have a background in theater. I was on the drill team, so I danced. And I tell you, the gift of gab is what my mom would would call me. But I would say that I'm inspired by people like Maya Angelou. Currently, I'm a big fan of, I don't know if you're familiar with Issa Rae. She's a producer, and she's an actress. She's multifaceted. I'm always reading. You're going to laugh. My first and favorite author, because of his content and the amount of work that he puts out, is Stephen King.
Oh really?
I told you that was
Okay.
going to shock you. My parents, again, they weren't readers, but they invested and sowed seeds by purchasing books for me. So probably by the time I was 14, and I had already read Cujo,
I was going
Rose.
to say Cujo's the only one I know of.
I had already read Cujo and Rose Matter and Carrie, and the Tommy Knockers.
Yeah, of course, Kerry. I
I mean, and all types of stuff. Where these are horror books.
know you're a young impressionable girl reading this stuff.
But I know, but that's not a knock at my parents. They just, I took a liking for horror, and we'd watch, the
It's
movies.
it's a huge genre of the Waco Independent Festival. I mean, that is a big thing.
I know. So here you got this young Christian girl, but she's reading horror stories and just picking up words and probably exposed to some things, that might not have been age appropriate at the time. But it did open up this idea of, wow, you could craft this entire world with words. And so Stephen King definitely was like the sparked my love for reading. I was really into Harry Potter growing up.
Oh,
Of course,
yeah.
I read my Bible, but I was really into fiction. And then when I got into college, I picked up like Gwendolyn Brooks. Recently, I've been reading more Octavia Butler, so more sci-fi type things. But I mean, I love to read. Right now I'm in that whole self-help development phase, so I'm being really boring and giving people advice on how they build relationships and shape culture. But I like influencers like Adam Grant,
Mm-hmm.
and so I read all types of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, so horror genre aside, what themes or messages do you know like to kind of focus on?
Yeah, I like to talk about what it's like being a woman, what it's like being a Black woman, how I'm navigating life, love, religious themes show up often. If you've read
Mm-hmm.
my latest chapbook before the launch of The Scare Frog is Prodigal.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Prodigal. That
Yeah,
was in
so
June. That launched in
Prodigal came out
June.
in June.
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am. And the story of the prodigal son has always interested me when we talk about it in church, because sometimes I see myself in the son, and sometimes I see myself in the brother.
Yeah.
So for those of you all that are, believers, in the being haste to be like, I want my things, I want them now, I want to see this world, I want to go off, give
Instant gratification.
instant gratification. There you go. And
Mm-hmm.
us millennials, we love to wait. So sometimes it's like, for me, I'm like, I gotta get this done now. I gotta do this book. Why am I not moving forward in my career? Wow,
Mm.
why does my life not look like this? I'm not making this. Sometimes, I'm the prodigal son and I have to go off. And sometimes, like my mama say, you gotta learn things the hard way. And sometimes I've been dedicated and I've been patient and I've supported people from the background and I've done things out of love. And I see myself in the brother who's like, wait a minute, you throwing a celebration for this joker? And I've been right here with you the whole time.
Yeah, I've
You
done
know,
everything like I'm supposed
I
to.
did everything
And
right.
yeah.
But now look at my life. So I've seen
Mm.
myself in both characters, and that's
True,
why I
true.
named
Yeah.
that chapbook Prodigal, just to showcase what it feels like sometimes when you move too fast and you make mistakes and you got to go home, and sometimes you're doing everything right but you still feel like a failure. And that's what Prodigal talks about in poetry format.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Um, where do you find your inspiration though?
Oh man.
In a life or
Yeah, life inspires me.
experiences? Yeah.
Interacting with wonderful women like yourself that talk
You're sweet.
about, that are passionate in what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Spending time with my friends,
Yeah.
and hearing their personal struggles and their growth points, right? What it's like being a parent for the first time, or wondering if you'll ever get married, or wondering if you'll ever meet this mark, or, sometimes God will just deposit a thought into my brain when I'm praying, and I'm like, you know what? That's a book. And then, I just write
There you go.
feverishly. God just drops things.
Yeah.
Honestly, I cannot actually take credit for the books and the work. I have to give all of my credit to God, because I feel like He's lending me these stories. And I believe that we're vessels.
Yeah.
And it's on us to get active and to share the words to help others. So,
Well, I love talking to creatives. I love hearing about their process and
yeah.
how they go about doing it. A lot more I want to talk to you about, though, Tony, about your worker, what kind of led you in that area as well. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will visit some more about that. Want to let you know that today's show is brought to you by Fox and Co. Bakery. We bake foxy things. You stay with us. There's more of the show ahead. A big thank you to our sponsor, Fox and Co. Bakery. Check them out for delicious baked goods and your catering needs. And I am back with Tonee B. Shelton, and she's got a brand new book that is going to be launched tomorrow. The Scared Frog Takes the Leap. It is a children's book, and you write for adults, you write for kids. What other children's books have you done?
Yes. So I've done one other children's book that
Oh.
actually came out earlier this year.
Okay.
It's called Dream Big, a poem for young dreamers.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. I love that because I mean you are giving inspiration and hope and encouragement
Yes, ma'am.
when there's so much in life that affects us that makes us discouraged,
Yeah.
and sorry for things. So your day job,
Yes.
Tell a little bit about what you do as a licensed social worker.
Yes, ma'am. So, as a social worker, I spend the bulk of my time in the nonprofit sector.
Mm-hmm.
I currently get to serve as the community relations liaison for Heart of Texas Goodwill.
Awesome.
So I get to run my mouth and share all the wonderful things that Goodwill has going on. I am kind of the face of our Community Connect space.
Yeah.
So I invite people. I'm always taking personal meetings or business meetings just to let people know, hey, if you're looking for a spot to take a meeting or do some professional development or some training that's free and helpful to the community, come to our community. And then I'm also doing like sharing what Goodwill does, just getting the brand out, some more brand awareness, and being a voice of support for profits and small businesses to see how Goodwill can support your mission.
Mm-hmm. So much more than just the thrift store, which is awesome.
Yes.
But yes, what it's doing in the community. I was so happy to have Tiffany uh, on the show not too long ago, a few days ago, talking about and really kind of clearing up a lot of misconceptions I had about what Goodwill industry does. What led you though in college to do the social work thing?
Yeah, if I'm completely honest, I was the kid that was pretty smart coming up in in high school, and
Okay,
then
so you were the one you didn't have to study hard and you made good grades.
what, are you a wizard? Yes,
I had to work hard.
okay, and see, that's why you're a boss. See, unfortunately, yes, I was what would they call us, gifted, and we all have gifts, so all of the kids should have been labeled gifted. But yeah,
Yeah, I
I'll be
think
honest
that's
with
true.
you. I'll be honest with you, and things really didn't come hard to me. The few things that came hard, I didn't necessarily have to develop the grit to get better. And sometimes when we praise our children and we tell them they're gifted and we tell them they're smart, we're giving them actually a handicap. Because in life, I don't feel like a beautiful life is crafted because you're naturally gifted or naturally smart in an area. A beautiful life takes a lot of work and effort. But yeah, so I was the one that things kind of came easy, got to Baylor University, got in that science class, Bio 1305, and
We are very similar.
let me
I
tell
know.
you.
I know. For me, it was accounting. I hit accounting. It's like, mm-mm.
So I had that accounting moment, and so kind of bounced around. I'll be honest with you. Always outgoing, very talkative. I was somebody's journalism or marketing major
Yeah.
or some type of humanities. Easy. It just really didn't have the tools. I finished school. I think I have a bachelor's of science in education.
Okay. Well,
which
that's good.
which is good. It's helpful.
Hello.
Look,
Yeah.
God is intentional. At the time,
Yeah,
we wouldn't have seen
you
it.
don't necessarily see the big picture, but he
Right.
does.
Exactly. But a mentor of mine, I was like, I made a phone call. I kid you not, 2 weeks before graduation. I was like, I don't know what I got to do. My parents are sending, everybody's expecting me, and we don't talk about what the Monday right after grad.
I know.
Everybody shouts for you that weekend. But on come Monday, it's like, where you working at? What you doing?
Yeah, what are we doing now? Yeah.
So I called her. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to continue in this. I don't even know if where do you go with this just general, because I had spent a lot of time doing exercise physiology stuff, and it was like you needed a master's to find work, and then you needed a license, and I was like, I don't want to continue down this road. She said, well, you're real helpful. At the time, I was doing her mentorship program. It was called Portraits. And so I was over the drama department. So we worked with community kids. We did an end of year production. And then it was Bible study in there, leadership development. It was great. She was like, I want you to look into social work. And I said,
You hadn't even thought about that.
yeah. I said, like Mariah Carey in the movie Precious? That's what I asked. Because social work to me, I said, they look real stressed. Like, me, I'm like, I don't know if I have that level, of commitment. So I looked into it and I saw that social workers did all types of things to help people. And I applied in the program and I got accepted, and I kid you not, and the day of graduation, like literally afterwards, I had an email that said I'd been accepted into the grad program at Baylor for social work. And that launched my career. And it was exciting. I said, oh, this fits me. Because I like to talk. I like to help people. And I love studying how environment have to culture to empower other people.
Yes, absolutely. And conversely to suppress them and make things
Yes,
horrible.
and make things horrible. And I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
have a little bit of a rebellious streak to me. No,
No.
exactly. And so, if there, my dad says, if you see a good fight, get in one. And so, being a social
I
worker for
love
me,
that.
yeah, he said, if it's
It
not a
needs
good
to be a
fight,
worthy
it
fight.
needs to be a worthy fight. And
Yeah.
so I fight with my mouth trying to advocate, but I also I fight with my pen trying to write positive and inspirational messages to help people along their life journey. And right now I'm fighting at Goodwill, making sure that people have high quality jobs and access
Yes.
to be successful in the workplace.
Oh, yeah. So valuable. Have you had moments when someone shared with you that something you'd written that they'd read really blessed them, or in some way helped them or inspired them? What did that mean to you?
Yeah, I think it means a lot. Sometimes as I'm an independent author, so I haven't hit my stride yet of like selling massive amounts of books. And I'll be honest with you, I went into it thinking that success was, oh, my books are going to be everywhere. And when sales are slow, or you put something out and someone maybe is offended by it, you start to think, oh, was that a right move? But then when you bump into a parent that's like, wow, I read that poem. How did you know I'm going through that too? I'm like, okay, God, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. When you see a parent post their child holding Dream Big and they're smiling, or you see, for me, Dream Big, I think has been the most rewarding, because I've seen pictures on social media of parents reading with their kids.
Yeah.
Spending time. So to me, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I don't become a New York Times bestseller right away. I'm still claiming that.
I was going to
But
say,
as for now,
yeah.
it is just making a positive impact in one person's life. One person at a time is a. That's what I need to keep doing.
Oh man, that is so great. Do you have a routine or a ritual, if you will, for how you come up with your poetry or your writing?
No, I will say this though, Ann. Every morning I get up, I say a prayer, I wash my face, brush my teeth, get ready for work.
Yeah.
But I give myself quiet time where I journal. I set a
Yeah.
timer. I listen to meditation. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say journaling, I think is kind of crucial as a beginning step, certainly for writers.
Yes, ma'am. I journal every day.
Yeah.
Every day I put my thoughts out. And in my journaling, in my quiet time, that is when sometimes a poem will hit. So I say, okay. So then I'll just start writing. Sometimes a title will come. I'm like, oh, the busy bee, the busy bee. Then I start writing. It's the craziest thing. Once I just in my journal time, sometimes ideas will come. And so I have so many, people probably think I'm a little on the crazier side, but I have so many unfinished like titles and books of things. And it's little kernels and nuggets. And then every month I just go back through my journal and I highlight and I pull out content versus just what was going on that day. And then I'll say, all right, Lord, which book is it? And then I will just finish the book. And I give myself a set time. I work with other artists to illustrate, but I don't give myself a timeline to write, because I think the book itself, I want that to be authentic. But once that manuscript is complete, I put myself on a deadline to say, here's when I contact my illustrator. We're going to launch on this month. We're going to reach out to this people on this much.
Yeah.
And I'm very like, a lot of artists, they're like, hey, whatever. No. My creative process, I would give my timeline. We find them. When do we start promoting
So how
on
do you
social
find
media?
an illustrator?
Oh man, I follow a whole
You
bunch of
got
artists.
Jay Johnson.
Jay Johnson is a friend I met in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
and I purchased her coloring book, and I just fell in love. I followed her on social media, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna reach out to her and see if she'd like to work with me on a book. And she said, and went back and forth. We had meeting dates. I can't draw, but I kind of have an idea of like what I want on each page. And she made my vision come to reality.
Oh, that
Yes,
is
ma'am.
that is so neat. Have you ever thought, as a poet, of working with a musician?
That would be amazing. That's a great idea.
Okay.
I'm thinking about it now. Right.
No, really. I mean, I know musicians collaborate with with lyricists, and so
It's so funny, and you bring that up because one time I was flying for work, and I ended up, having a conversation with someone, and I showed them. They ended up buying one of my books. They ended up buying Identity Crisis, and they said, "Have you ever thought about being a songwriter?" And I was like, "No, no." And they're like, "You do realize that if you can write a poem, you probably could write a song."
yeah,
And so, just you asking me
that's
that
what I'm thinking.
question made me think, like,
Little
oh.
nudging along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about just different ways to use the word. Words are so powerful, So,
Yeah, oh, they are. They are. So what projects or dreams, what are you working on next?
yeah, so after the Scared Frog takes the leap, I am really going to spend a lot of time tying up a loose end of a children's book. I've been in
Okay.
a children's book kind of mood. They're so
Oh, that's
fun
good,
to
yeah.
make, and I love the readings. So I'm gonna spend quite a bit of time in the Austin and Dallas, Killeen and Waco area doing readings.
Mhm.
I want to read The Scared Frog That Takes the Leap. Anybody that'll have me, I want to come and read to your littles. And then I'm gonna work on my next children's book. So, yeah.
That what advice do you have for somebody maybe that's feeling like you do, and I've got something to give back. I want to. Is there any like big thing that you've learned along the way in your journey thus far to being a published author?
To being a published author. Okay. I will say there's a saying that my mentor at Baylor, Miss Pearl Beverly, would say. We'd have to say before we did our mentorship group, start where you are, use what you got, and do what you got to do. So in starting where you are a writer. Continue to write. My books literally started from a Google Doc. There are so many ways to self-publish right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let people get into your head. Get on YouTube. That's what I did. I asked my preacher who had self-published his books,
Yeah.
"Hey, how did you do this?" And the site that he gave me, that's what I used. They literally helped me format and edit my books, and then they were in my hands within a month of me emailing them. So if you're a writer, do not be discouraged. Amazon. You can literally take your Word or Google document. They have their own process that is free, and you can have your book. You just have to tell yourself, no matter what, I'm going to get this book done. And I'm going to reach out to people like author Tonee B. Shelton, who I follow on social media. And then if you're on social media, get off social media and finish your book. And if you follow me, you know I create content, and I did get people like, you can't start your own business because you're too busy and everyone else's. You've logged on to Facebook 20 times today but haven't started working on your books. Like, you have to take a step back from the world and focus on your book. And when you tell yourself yes, the book will be there.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of self-discipline
Yes, ma'am.
involved in getting all that done.
You just got to tell yourself you can do it. And I know people
Yeah.
hate the like, oh, you just got to do it. Like, there's more steps than that. Yes, there's more steps than that. But if you're a writer, you will write. And it's okay to understand that everybody is a writer,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
Right.
Just like I'm not the bio 1305. I was nobody's dentist, Anne. As much as they told me I was smart, so that meant I should go to the dental or medical school.
Dental school.
That would be disrespectful to the health and the teeth in the world.
People.
But some of us were called to
Yeah.
write,
Yeah.
and the things that we're called to do, nobody has to get after you to get them done.
Yeah.
So I guess my ending advice is figure out what God put you on this earth to do, and then get busy doing it.
Amen. Amen. If somebody's just discovering your work, though, what's the best way for them to find?
Yes, ma'am. So all of my works currently are on my website. So it's www.bettawatchitone.com, www.bettawatchitone.com. That is
I
the
love
name
it.
of
I
my
love it.
website with all of my books. Yes, ma'am.
I love it. You're also on Facebook.
Yes,
though.
ma'am. I'm on Facebook. Please follow author Tonee, Tonee B. Shelton, and you will probably laugh and smile and hopefully remain encouraged as you follow me on Facebook, and I'll follow you back.
Oh, yeah. And tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the Scared Frog takes the leap. So, where and when, and how can folks?
Yeah, so the Scared Frog Takes the Leap book launch will be in Waco, Texas, 200 Hillsboro Drive in the East Waco area at Rock My Style Barbershop, and we'll be kicking off at 10 a.m. So you got to come because I'm going to do some readings, and there's some coloring sheets, and we have some really cute cookies that are going to be in the shape of
Aw.
frogs. So I want to make sure everyone gets there to not miss that. But we're going to leap towards our dreams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you're certainly doing that, and you're
you.
inspiring lots of people along the way.
Thank you.
Tonee B, Shelton, you're just a delight. And please don't be a stranger.
Yes, ma'am.
Come back next week when you've written another book.
Yeah.
I mean, you are prolific and just so wonderful to be around. Thank you.
Same.
Again. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh.
Hey, Waco, we're live in the Wacoan office, and it's time for Waco Weekend with Debbie
and Jenna. We're back bringing you the very best of everything happening in Waco this weekend.
It's definitely another packed weekend in Waco, and we got your guide to all the local happenings.
To kick things off, get ready for Brew at the Zoo at the Cameron Park Zoo. From 6 to 9 on Friday and Saturday, enjoy craft beer, bites from local food trucks, and live music under the stars, all while supporting the zoo's conservation efforts.
And on Saturday, you can head on over to the Waco Farmers Market to celebrate culture and color with Diwali. This will be the Festival of Lights. They will be having it from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. right at downtown. Enjoy performances, local vendors, family-friendly fun, all hosted by the Asian Leaders Network.
Diwali was so much fun last year. I can't wait for the second one. But later on Saturday, across the river, show your pride at Out on the Brazos. Waco's annual Pride Festival is back at Indian Spring Park from 12 to 5 p.m. with vendors, live music, and performances, all free and open to the public.
And don't miss out on the Great Waco Duck Race. Support Imagination Library at Indian Spring Parks on Sunday while hundreds of racing ducks head down the Brazos River, all to fund free books for children.
Then over in East Waco, Pumpkin Fest is bringing the fall fun. Join Cultural Arts of Waco from 11 to 2 at Wilbert Austin Senior Park for pumpkin painting, face painting, snacks and pies, all for free.
And finally, wrap up your whole weekend on Sunday night with the Prosperity Dinner with Prosper Waco. This will be celebrating the original 1911 dinner that took place on Austin Avenue. They'll be fully recreating it. It'll be a wonderful evening where cocktail hour starts at 6 p.m. and dinner starts service at 7. It's definitely a historic moment you don't want to miss out on.
And don't forget, you can always visit the Grackle at wacoan.com for more guides, features, and our weekly Waco Weekend wrap-up every Wednesday.
Enjoy your #Waco Weekend.
Football season, and we can create your outdoor tailgating spaces that is actually a part of your home. Bifold doors that tie in the inside and the outside, and you can gain anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet living space, all while taking in the big game, poolside. Call us at Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath, where we can create your unique tailgating space.